Welcome to this episode of the Phantom Journeys podcast with your host, Matt McGuirk and Ken Smith, where we bring the unexplained to your ear holes.
This podcast is brought to you by the Alien Soda Company, your connection to pop culture and paranormal themed merch. AlienSodaCompany.shop for all things out of this world.
Well, hey there, Matt. How's it going?
Hey, it's going well. How are you?
I'm good. We just had a big lunch, and now we're ready to get into it.
It was good. Oh, man, I'm stuffed. All right, let's do this.
Let's do this. So, this week, we have an interesting news story from China, don't we?
Oh, yes, we do. This is a good one. All right. So, as being reported this week, China is digging one of the deepest holes in the hopes of finding signs of life.
Really? I guess if they dig deep enough, they'll get to the other side and find life.
But if people in China dig straight through, where will they go to?
Oh.
Because everyone digs to China.
I bet you it's water. They're going to find a big a gusher.
They pop up in Arizona. Woo! Yeah, one of the biggest holes in human history is currently being dug by China as they seek to find potential life down there. At 10,000 meters deep,
or 30,000 feet,
and going on through 10 layers of rock.
Around roughly a little over 5,000 feet's a mile.
Is it?
Yeah, so that's like 6 miles down. Am I doing the right?
Wait, if it's
30,000 feet? It's 5 times 6, 30, yeah.
Wow. That's...
roughly.
Yeah, cool. At 10,000 meters deep, and while there seems to be some risks involved with delving too deeply into the ground, they want to reach rocks and materials that are up to 145 million years old.
That's pretty old.
It is old. Maybe you'll find a pterodactyl down there. They'll be unearthing things that have been part of the ground since when the dinosaurs ruled the earth. And these materials have been understored for millions of years and maybe potentially valuable. On top of that, there are hopes that they'll find some sort of life down there. We're not talking about hordes of murderous mole people, but you never know.
You never know.
Who will come swarming out of the ground to make war upon the surface world. Which
brings into the theory of the hollow earth.
That is also, yeah.
Yeah? I mean, it's possible.
Anything is possible. The deepest hole ever dug was about 1,200 meters down. 12,000 meters, I'm sorry. And started from a project kicked off by the Soviet Union, which was done on and off again between 1970 and 1995 before Russians ran out of money and canned the project.
So between 1970 and 1995, Russia or the Soviet Union just said, "Yeah, boredom. Let's work on the hole today."
Yeah, right. we dig hole and then we fill with vodka.
And you can send your Russian hate mail to
me. No, I love Russian people. It's
he loves
we're not
the
getting
Russian
into
vodka.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We're not getting into the politics, right? It's going to be incredibly expensive, as the amount of equipment required to dig down 10,000 meters is a lot. And I've played Space Engineers. I get it. The construction is difficult. Drilling the project can be compared to dump truck driving on two thin steel cables. Jinxing, my apologies.
As well, I would say it.
Fair enough.
I could be butchering it too.
Academic from the Chinese Academy of Engineering, told by news agency Xinhua.
Okay, so they're drilling down about 6 miles and hoping to find
some life down there.
So, I mean, it begs the question: what if they dig down and find some bacteria that's been dormant since for 145 million years?
They're not on good grounds with trying to kill. No, I'm saying they try to kill it, or I'm not saying that. But COVID did originate from China. Allegedly, let's put it that way. We all know, but allegedly, you got to throw that word in. I've heard.
No, I mean, you never know what. I mean, and then you hear like scientists like they reawoken bacteria that've been dead for 1 million years. Like, maybe there's a reason it needed to be asleep for 1 million years.
Absolutely,
it obviously wasn't essential to the biosphere of the area. So why revive it and potentially harm humankind? Or am I just? I'm not a biologist, but to me, it seems like you're asking for trouble. When you do stuff like that.
I find it quite interesting in regards to ancient Egyptian tombs when they say, the curse of what was it, King Tut. It's like, if it's cursed, leave it alone, man.
And then it turned out there was dormant bacteria that they disturbed at that time too. See, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess it's important, but I mean, what kind of life could that they be looking for that we already don't have a good idea of in the fossil record?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, pterodactyl, Bigfoot, babies, flying Bigfoot, feet, wings, big wings.
Big wings?
Big wings.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, it's just... But, I mean, then we'd bring up the Hollow Earth theory.
Yeah, for sure.
What if there is a civilization down in the center of the Earth that they come across and then going to piss them off? Or,
drilling through their homes. Like, you don't want to drill coming down
your own business, and here comes this drill through your ceiling.
Hey, what if, like, one day we just seen a giant, like, drill come through the sky?
Oh, that's a good point.
Right? Like, it looks all, like, blue, and there's stars in the sky. And then you just see the cracking open as, like a Truman Show from the other side.
This week you blew my mind.
Yeah.
What if we are in the Hollow Earth?
Yeah.
Wow.
I always love that when you kind of like, I recently watched the new Ant-Man movie. Not sponsored by, and I'm not mentioning it like that, but like they go into like the quantum realm or whatever. So there's a world inside of there, and then if you look at the planets on our side, which are a lot bigger, and what happens if you like zoom out again? Are they atoms?
Right.
I'm
with you.
Yeah.
Comes down to are the stars we see just holes drilled in the
yeah.
Well, speaking of drilling down, that's actually a great segue into today's subject matter.
Oh yeah,
and that's the lost lizardman civilization.
Very cool.
Of Los Angeles.
Nice.
I'm not sure if everybody's heard this, but at one time, I'm sure there's even people that still believe that there is actually a lost lizardman civilization beneath the streets of Los Angeles.
Now, is there any kind of proof of this, or
have you seen a lizardman?
I mean, no.
Well, let me read the story that started the whole modern day version of this. Now, before I start reading this, there are several different other versions, so it depends on which version you're reading, but I'm just going to read the general and we can discuss. Mm-hmm. So on January 29th, 1934, the Los Angeles Times ran a front page story to tell readers that there had been a discovery of an ancient tunnel and city complex under downtown Los Angeles. The city and tunnels had belonged to an ancient race of lizard people, and that a mining engineer had discovered the city. The underground city was connected by a tunnel system and stretched over several miles and formed the outline of a lizard.
Okay, so the structure just looked like a lizard?
The way that I understand is that the city was laid out in the shape of a lizard.
Interesting.
So it's a lizardman civilization.
Mm-hmm.
They're tunneling underground, and I'll get into why they're underground. But how many human-shaped cities do we have?
Yeah, that's true.
So, anyway, that's the first thing.
Okay.
But not only did this mining engineer discover the city, but also found 9 treasure rooms, and in each room there was a 4-foot by 4-foot golden tablet that had the edicts and philosophy of the lizardman civilization etched. So,
wow.
I don't know this, and this is 1934.
Yeah,
it's long before common use of radar.
That's true.
We're not talking about ground penetrating radar. I'm sure it hadn't even been invented or thought of at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So, but
wow, that's quite, yeah, it's interesting.
Let's move on.
All right.
He managed to discover this without even venturing underground. Huh.
How would you do that if you had no ground penetrating radar?
Okay, so the story goes that two men. Now, this is where there's different versions. So, the most common version that I've read is that there's two men that bought a old treasure map from an Indian.
Okay.
There's another story where the mining engineer actually partnered with an Indian, and that's how they knew the tale.
All right.
And then there's also a couple other versions, but those are the two most common. We're just gonna talk about the possibility of the two men buying the. That's the version that I have here. So the story goes that two men in the late 1920s or early 1930s were shown an ancient map on the back of a sheepskin pelt. On this pelt was a map of a city and a writing in an unknown language. These men decided to buy the map, and soon they started looking for someone that could help them locate the supposed treasure located on the new map. Here enters G. Warren Shuffelt. Now, Shuffelt was a mining engineer in Arizona, and when the two men shared their story and showed him the map, he agreed, and he was instantly hired.
Cool.
So, interesting.
Bring maps to your interviews.
So, Shuffelt brought with him a machine he built called the radio X-ray device. Now, this is how he saw all that stuff underground without ground-penetrating radar, which this might have been the precursor to. Shuffelt claimed that the device would detect the vibrations of objects and could be determined their chemical makeup and map things up to 300 feet underground. This was long before ground-penetrating radar or even radar in general use. This machine consisted of a large tripod with a pendulum-like object hanging down from the center, surrounded in a glass sphere. These with wires that ran to a medium-sized wooden box. Shuffelt used this device and was able to map the lizard-shaped tunnels, the treasure rooms, from a seated position above ground. It's nice when you can see all that without even grabbing a shovel.
Yeah. Damn.
So anyway, Shuffelt and his two investors were successful in securing a drilling permit from the LA County in exchange for sharing the treasure 50-50. Which I doubt you'd be able to work that deal with the County of Los Angeles today.
For sure.
They began drilling down to where they believed the treasure room was located. This position was in the old area called Old Fort Moore Hill. It has since been removed by the county, the hill, over a section which is an area that was just off the current 101 freeway. It's actually, if you drive the 101 freeway through downtown, you're driving through the remnants of the old Fort Moore Hill.
Oh,
it was a large hill that was there.
Interesting.
They've leveled it to make room for more modern buildings. And actually, the history of the Fort Moore Hill is actually interesting because they used to have a cemetery up there.
Oh.
And when they decided they were going to remove the hill, they didn't remove the cemetery.
Oh, dear.
And so as the hill was removed in sections, people would find bones just laying in the street and whatnot. So a lot different than back in the 20s and 30s.
For sure.
So with this permit, Shuffelt and his partners is recorded that they drilled down to nearly 250 feet. But since they hadn't hit anything in the county, and with the county concerned about possibly damaging the nearby Broadway car tunnels, their permit was pulled and all the work to recover the treasure was gone. So, what do you think? They didn't find any lizards. They didn't find any gold. But, so far, I mean, these guys were convinced that there was a lizard man civilization to the point that the LA Times was reporting on it as their progress.
I mean, okay, it is interesting, but I find it the fact that it's like the shape of the city is the lizard.
Right, and like, again, there's no human shaped cities. So it's not like something that's instinctual to people designing cities to match whatever species they are. It's interesting that like from Ireland I don't usually see an awful lot of lizards. Actually, I don't think there's any like free roaming lizards in Ireland because it's so cold. Okay.
So I've noticed there's a lot of lizards here. Obviously, drier, hotter, landscapes and stuff like that. So you know, a person from back then, you know, whenever they were created, you know, would have seen a lot of these and maybe tried to be a little bit artistic and different from other, let's say, architects of that time.
Well, they are lizard-based, you know, people, so maybe their idea of city building and aesthetics are different than ours.
That's also true. But then again, like, where do lizards live? Like, you know, a lizard would be like under a rock or like in a dark place. I guess underground, sure, but back then it probably wasn't underground, right? Because they built another city on top of it.
So one of the original things that wasn't mentioned in this story, but it goes along with this, is that the reason that the lizard people built their civilization underground is because they at one time were at war with the native Indians or the Native Americans that lived in the area, and then after a very bloody long war, they decided to call a truce. Humans got the top side, the lizard civilization got underground.
On the world, yeah.
But at the same time, we got to, I mean, first of all, I think in this day and age, since the 20s, is that there's been so much digging underground downtown that I think they would have found at least a gold gold room at this point. But
true. Well, maybe they have.
That's true. That's true. Which you bring up a good point, because one of the largest, there was the treasure room was what they were drilling into, but the story also goes that one of the other large areas that was supposed to have a treasure is under the current library.
Okay.
At the city library downtown.
Oh.
So the county was involved on it anyway, so there's the speculation that they knew right where to build the library, and they could drill down as far as they go and recover it, and nobody would ever know.
I mean, for sure.
You want to get into conspiracies? I mean, there you go.
Hell yeah, we're trying our best not to go down the conspiracy route, but that's. I mean, it's kind of difficult with, like, you know, monsters, reptiles, whatever, people living underground. But I mean,
did you think a lizard civilization could live underground without?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
there's plenty of minerals and you know, ways for them to feed, but I mean, at the same time, I don't see it any different from being a life like above. You know, like I can almost imagine, like, if there is a civilization down there, they're probably told that there's nothing above them.
Oh, true.
And that there's no one else in the universe. You know what I mean? Like,
and maybe as people drilled down and tunneled further down, they went deeper, or
possibly
moved over. You know, we're not there. So I mean, it is possible.
And there's the other side of the story where maybe they are afraid of us because we are the war race, humans. And like Ken said, it moving further underground because we're digging down, so they want to go further. And hide themselves from us.
If you work for the county or city of Los Angeles, and you work in the tunnels underneath downtown, and you've seen a lizard man, or know of the civilization, we would love to hear from you, because I love this subject. And I mention this also because if you are a relationship to Mr. Warren Shuffelt, and you have his X-ray radio machine that's been sitting in an attic for all these years, and one of my bucket list things, and I kid you not, I love this story so much. One of my bucket list things is to actually touch Sheen. I am fascinated at this entire story.
Oh, cool. Absolutely. It's interesting. It is. Even the fact that, like, because we're in California, could literally be a city underneath us.
Exactly. And the cool thing is, where I live, I'm actually within walking distance where the Fort Moore Hill was. So I could walk to where they drilled. I've actually discovered where the drill permit allowed them to. And so I've always been fascinated by this story.
Cool. All right. Well,
but, you know, I have to admit that I'm not quite convinced that there's the lizardman race. I think if you kind of look at the time frame, the late 20s or the 30s, we had the Great Depression.
Yeah, that's...
And you're an out-of-work mining engineer, and these two guys approach you with wanting to pay you for a job.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that he didn't find anything, but it just seems like more you look into the story, the more that whenever funding looked like to be discontinued,
For sure.
all of a sudden, like, oh wait, I found another treasure room, or wait, there's 4 foot by 4 foot gold tablets. So
Yeah,
it seemed
yeah.
like it was a way to keep things going. So that's just my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
However, I would definitely love to see the radio X-ray machine if you're a descendant and it's up in your attic and you're not sure what it is.
You know what? Just gonna throw this out here, but if you're a lizard person and you're listening to this podcast,
absolutely.
send us in a story.
Yeah.
We'll keep everything
Call us.
confidential.
We'll come down and meet you
we'll
and have
come
a special episode. How cool would that?
Right, that would be awesome.
That would be an exclusive.
It
wouldn't
would be absolute exclusive.
We might have to break out a video camera for that.
We would. We'd have to have one of our first special in-person thing and episodes.
So this is I've always been fascinated by this story, and I just think that there's so much to this that could be done through, and it's an amazing story. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I'm writing a sci-fi story myself, and there's reptile humanoids, not humanoids, but like bipedal. So I have a couple of theories in there, which you're gonna have to buy the book in order to find out. I know what it's mean, but
yeah. No spoilers.
No spoilers. But I definitely do believe in lizard people.
Well, it seems like there's lizard men, lizard people reports almost all over the world. So it kind of begs the question: what are they seeing?
Yeah,
it's like Bigfoot. A lot of people believe that Bigfoot is out there. I'd love to see it. A lot of people I know have seen one. I'd like to see a lizard man. And it kind of makes you wonder, okay, so we had dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And, like the coelacanth, the fish they thought went extinct around the time of the dinosaurs, is found off the coast of Madagascar.
Recently? Or
back in the 30s.
Oh, okay.
But but they found a living, colony.
Yeah.
Or pod of
That's
these fish.
interesting, though.
So, it begs the question like with the China story that we read.
Yeah.
They're drilling down to 145 million years to find life. So let's say a dinosaur species managed to survive the asteroid.
Absolutely, yeah.
And mutate and, develop over 145 million years.
Yeah. We definitely know life likes to evolve pretty quickly. Quickly in 100 million years.
As they say in the movie Jurassic Park, life finds a way. No, it's not beyond the possibility.
Yeah. Sounds good. I can't wait to meet our reptilian friends.
As long as they're friends and not overlords.
Exactly. yeah, for sure.
If you're reptilian overlords, we can push the interview for a while.
Yeah, you all know about Dulce base. We won't get into that though. That's conspiracy theory.
But I've gone to the Dulce,
that's
New Mexico,
right. Yeah.
Looking in, I don't know. I didn't see any lizard people walking around.
You didn't see? No, they weren't walking around.
No, but
that's disappointing.
I stopped for gas and some beef jerky though.
You sure wasn't lizard jerky?
It could have been.
It could have been people jerky. Well, they're people.
But I drove through there on the way back.
All right.
Time.
Was it a nice place though? Nice place to visit?
It's nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
People were nice.
Awesome.
A lot of trees and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so we're making a plea once again. If you're a lizard person, if you work for the city or county of LA and you've seen lizard people or lizard-like people in the tunnels underneath LA, or you can get us into the tunnels underneath LA, and so we can do an on-site investigation.
Yeah.
Or if you're a part of the Shuffelt family and you still have the radio X-ray machine, I would so love to touch it and look at it.
For sure. So in regards to the treasure, Ken, do you think there's actually gold tablets underground that are hidden from us?
Anything's possible.
Yeah.
Is it likely? Probably not, I would say.
Yeah.
I think you'd have a better chance of finding gold coins in a tin can that somebody dug and hid a long time ago, versus actually finding the 4 foot by 4 foot tablets. Which
4 by 4 foot.
That's a lot of gold.
huge.
That would be a lot of money each tablet.
Yeah.
This wasn't it's like $1,700 an ounce or $2,000 an ounce
it's
right
been.
now?
I have never looked up gold prices because I probably could never afford it. So yes.
So we're talking. I mean, I can see where the county is like, yeah, go ahead, you spend all that money and drill, and yeah, we'll take 50% of whatever.
Yep.
And gold was not as expensive as it is back then as it is now.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I doubt you'd get the county to agree to anything like that nowadays.
Mm-hmm. Well, hey, we gotta love the county, right?
Yeah. So, but the question I also want to ask you is, do you think the guys that originally bought the map, do you think they were gullible, or do you think they just got greedy and saw dollar signs when they were given the story? I mean, we don't have a lot of information who they were, but...
Try to put yourself in the shoes of somebody in the 1930s. They've no internet. They've no computers. They have their imagination, right? That's the only thing that pre-1900 really had. I mean, it kind of sounds like a fun story that they had around the campfire one night. Like, hey, imagine if, like, you know, lizards were real people and they lived underground. It's like, hey, no one's heard about that before. Let's make a ton of money and, you know, make it kind of a hoax thing. That's more plausible than, you know, people lived underground. But
there's no record that these guys actually profited off of this. Even Schofield didn't profit off of this. Because they never found anything. Well,
in that case, you know, I'm literally just going off what I hear.
Sure.
But there's scientists out there that have a theory about something. You don't have to have a doctorate to. Well, maybe this guy knew more about radars and stuff like that, or underground seeing stuff. But you know, he wanted to test out something, and he did it. He tested it out, and did he get results? Probably not. Maybe he just seen a ton of rock and then made up a story. You know what I mean?
That's true. Maybe he misinterpreted.
Allegedly,
kind of.
I'm saying allegedly here for that. But yeah, I'd love it. I'd love it if they found another civilization on the ground.
Oh, let's say they did find it. How do you think people would react?
See, I mean,
I kind of back to the same story if aliens came.
That's what I was gonna mention that. I feel as there's two ways I can think about this, right? I hate to go after anyone who believes in like a religion, you know. I don't, but that's me. I'm more spiritual. So in regards to a different race other than our own being introduced, such as aliens, such as lizard people, I want to say that people would be accepting of it. It might be a bit scary at first, but I think with the internet and with so many investigators of paranormal, I think we'd have a greater understanding than someone of the 30s or the 40s, you know, especially with Star Trek and, you know, Star Wars. Have all these alien races and they're portrayed by like a human voice, so you know, it's not a first time seeing some kind of alien race.
Okay,
you know?
I see what you're saying. So it's not as a foreign idea to us. It would have been somebody in 1930.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because if you think about like back in what the Roswell kind of 1947.
Yeah.
Like little green men or aliens with big heads. Like that's pretty much all they had.
And that was pretty much the first time you heard a lot about that. So it was relatively new to people at that point.
And nowadays, and geez, just look at Star Wars, look at Star Trek.
Right.
Read my book. You know, it's just...
I don't know if I'm as faithful in the human race accepting lizard people or aliens, because we're not very good to people that are here now. Yeah. And so... I'd like to give people the benefit of the doubt, but people could be real, bad sometimes, and
absolutely.
I see there are such rifts already with different people that already already know that live on this planet. I don't think people would be that accepting to aliens or a lizard person.
Yeah, that worries me about our culture as humans. There are good people in the world, but then again, there are some bad ones, and I mean bad in the sense of you cannot accept another race outside of your own, right? And I think that's
it's a sad,
it's cruel.
Sad statement.
It is very sad. So yeah, Power to the little people. Power to the lizard people.
Do you think they're green?
I want to. Well,
what if they're like chameleons, can change color?
Yeah.
So they actually come out at night.
They only come out at night.
But like when someone comes
like
around,
xenomorphs?
No, but more like
Mostly?
a chameleon.
Yeah, for sure.
Where, someone's coming and then they can really hide by leaning up against a dark wall and blending in.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely plausible.
I like it.
Yes, because some lizards can do that. And I don't see why they couldn't do it either, so.
Do you think they have tails?
That'd be cool. That would be, yeah.
Who knows?
Maybe. Detachable,
that would be.
They can beat you with their own tails. Like, I hate you, pop, bang.
Rip off their tongue tail and beat you over the head with it. Maybe I don't want to run into a lizard man.
That's true. I'd hate to have dinner with them. I mean, no offense, but like.
Have you seen a lizard eat?
Yeah. Can't imagine what's down there for them to eat too. So
to our LIZARDMAN listeners, we are just having a little fun. We're not meaning any offense. And if you are a lizard overlords, there was really no offense meant at all.
Okay, cool. Thanks, lizard people and humans and everyone else in between.
And at the end of the show, you'll get the emails to send your listener stories, LIZARDMAN information, and again, if you're the Schofield family, I would love to come visit. But that also leads up to our listener stories.
Sweet. All right. Well, let's just take a little short break, and when we come back, we'll hear the story.
Hello, Earthlings. We are from the planet Mars, and we are here to shop at the Alien Soda Company.
You don't have to travel the solar system to shop the Alien Soda Company. All you got to do is visit aliensodacompany.shop, and you too can get pop culture and paranormal themed shirts, shower curtains, posters, and they got over 100 different license plate frames that you can put on your flying saucer.
So that's aliensodacompany.shop.
Yeah, aliensodacompany.shop.
For all things out of this world.
Alien Soda Company, for all things out of this world. Use coupon code PHANTOM for 10% off your entire purchase.
Do you want to stand out at Ren fairs or LARPing? Would you like to do something special for bridal wear or hand fasting? Or add some unique bling to your everyday style? Check out elvenstarddesign.etsy.com for your best and unique handcrafted Celtic jewellery. Or go to phantomjourneys.com and find the link in our partners section. That's elvenstarddesign.etsy.com. Welcome to Phantom Journeys podcast, Listener Stories. This week I'll be reading a story from EV, a listener who wishes to remain anonymous. So sit back, grab your Phantom Journey coffee, and allow me to tell you their story. Many thousands, if not millions of people have survived what is known as a near-death experience. The main change for the person after the experience is that the vast majority do not fear death. As we have experienced part of the journey with mixed emotions, you know what's happening. But there are sometimes the ability to control the outcome. My own experience has similarities to some other accounts, but it also differs from many others too. Prior to the event, I had a mediumistic ability. I believed in spirits, and I had experiences from a very early age that were explained away by my loved ones. I could speak about my experiences at home, but never outside of the immediate family. I was to later discover that my grandmother had developed her own mediumistic ability in private, and I presumed that they hoped I would grow out of it. As a teenager, I couldn't digest enough reading material about the paranormal. The local library had 4 books on the subject, and those books spent more time in my hands than the library. Orley Rectory, written by Harry Prince, spent many weeks on my bookshelf. Odd experiences happened until one Sunday in April 1997 when everything changed. I was riding my horse in an equestrian competition when he suddenly spooked. I found myself crumpled on the ground. My horse was fine as he galloped off, but I realized I had a few injuries. Luckily, there were 2 doctors at the event riding their own horses, so they cared for me until a specialized ambulance arrived. In those days, not every ambulance had spinal boards. After x-rays in the hospital, I was sent home after 3 hours with nothing wrong, and told to go back if I had problems. A full diagnostic took 2 years to confirm the injuries sustained. Let's say there were many people walking around not aware that they had a broken back. X-rays of the day didn't pick up on internal bleeding, fractures, and a punctured lung created a hemothorax. Today's MRI scans pick up on these injuries as bruising hid injuries on an X-ray. That night I went to bed as normal, but that night changed my life. It was also the longest night I had had in my life. At some stage during the night I woke up, unable to breathe. I was terrified. I had no air in my lungs. Eventually I was able to cough. It was blood that came up. The pain was so bad. Worse than the pain on my back, which was like a red hot poker jammed into the injury site. As I fought to breathe, I realised I had no feeling down my left side, and I couldn't feel anything in my legs either. I could neither call for help as I was fighting to breathe with tiny breaths, nor could I move to get help. I suppose I prayed and pleaded to live, but it was getting worse. Drowning in your own blood is not pleasant, with the added pain in my spine. I became aware of a presence in the corner of my bedroom. It was there, but it wasn't scary nor comforting. Everything in my room became opaque, as if in a fog, and the pain subsided. And I found that now I was beside this being. Some might suggest it was angelic or celestial, neither male nor female, in silver robes that fell to the floor. It seemed to be sitting down. Its knee level, about 4 feet from the floor, and the head reached through the ceiling. There were silver slippers on its feet. I can still remember every detail of the robe, even though it happened so long ago. I say the robes were silver, but they glistened with every colour, and they were soft like satin, yet not a material known on earth. The pain subsided, to me no longer being in pain, and there was increasing thickness of opaqueness in the room. It felt as though my physical body and my awareness were being pulled apart, thinking of pulling apart 2 jelly tots really slowly and magnified in size. I didn't see my life story, nor did I see a tunnel, but instead I asked questions. I was given a choice, to stay or to go. If I stayed, I was given an ultimatum. I had to make a promise, and this I have carried out and continued to this day. But the big choice was interesting. I didn't choose to live for me. I choose to live for others close to me, including my animals. It was an immediate answer, and it was as if the being and I were one. After this answer, I was aware of the increasing pain. The opaqueness in the room lessened. More aware of physical things in my room, such as my radio or my bookshelf. Again, I was aware of this huge being sitting there in the corner. No longer was I beside it. I realised I was back in bed, struggling to breathe again and unable to move. It was quite a shock to the system, as I had been pain-free and at complete peace moments ago. Another big thing that had happened was that I had no concept of time. It seems to me as if that night was eternal. I had no idea how long this event happened. It could have been an hour or it could have been 1 second. I do not know. I haven't recovered from the incident, and I never will. I could be classed as physically disabled, but no, that's not part of the promise. The promise was to develop my abilities, and almost straight away after the incident, the occurrences of the supernatural exploded. Every day something happened. Every day I am fascinated with partial and full manifestation. and that's my greatest joy, to experience the spirit world. As for the jelly tot experience, I felt it once more. I was in a private seance when my dad spoke through a direct voice trumpet. The physical body seemed to be left behind as I went to meet my dad. Did you enjoy today's listener story? Would you like to share your own? Well, you can go to phantomjourneys.com and leave your own listener story by clicking the link provided. Or you can send us an email at stories@phantomjourneys.com.
Please let us know if you want to use your real name or remain anonymous. We ask that you send us true paranormal experiences and not fictional stories. You can also check out phantomjourneys.com for our latest episodes, news, and our new gourmet Phantom coffee line, where we also have other cool and spooky coffee mugs, t-shirts, and gifts.
The views expressed in this podcast express the views of the hosts and not the sponsors or any other entities.
Living or dead.
Well, that was wow, that was really interesting. I mean
scary too.
Yes.
I mean, you're alive 1 minute and then dead the next, and
yeah.
it could happen to anybody at any time, but to have to be there and given the choice,
yeah,
and seeing what she saw. That's an amazing story.
Absolutely, and thank you for giving that to us. Really appreciate you.
Thank you. And we want everybody else's stories too. And again, we ask that these be true events that happen to you, not fictionalized stories, things that actually happened to you, or something you can relate from a close relative. But if you have those stories, we want to hear from you, and we want to read them and read them on air.
Absolutely.
And you can send them to our email that we are going to give you.
Awesome. Well, yeah, I mean, gee, what would you do? Stay or go. Huh?
Should I stay or should I go?
I mean, I guess it's all down to how you feel about life, really.
Does it come down to, like they always say, ghosts have unfinished business?
Yeah. Maybe
you think your business is unfinished, but somebody else is not, and that's where you get left. And maybe. I don't know.
Hey,
have you ever had a near-death experience?
I haven't personally.
I have not either.
I remember.
Thank goodness, I'm knocking on wood here.
that's plastic.
That's plastic. Knocking on plastic like wood, like something.
Here's wood. No. And that was my desk, not the. Not a near death experience, but I remember as a kid we were on this train, and I remember my cousin saying oh, there's another train coming or something like that, and we were playing at the window. We were kind of sticking our head out the window and feeling the wind blow to our head like crazy. And I remember my cousin saying oh, there's another train coming. So I popped my head out the train to see it, and I remember seeing the train a couple of inches from my head, or not, 6 or 7 inches away from my head. And I just remember my cousin pulled me in and go, "No!" And I realised I quite possibly could have took my head off.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know how close trains are when they pass, but they're in a couple of feet, though, right?
Yeah, they're usually just enough room for the two to get by without hitting each other.
Or even getting sucked out. I mean, I was 7 or 8 years old. I was actually skinny for once in my life. So thanks, cuz.
Well, I'm glad that you're here today, Matt.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad to have you two here. Just to say,
thank you. So if we weren't here, how would anybody be able to hear this podcast?
Well, wait, what?
If you and I hadn't made it, nobody would be listening to the podcast.
They won't be listening to a podcast from us because
possibly they're not listening anyway. But
maybe they would be making a podcast about us because we'd be dead and we'd be, on their EVPs and stuff.
I would say something nasty.
No.
Yeah, if I was a ghost in a place, I would say something just to get back at them.
I think I'd say something really cryptic and mind kind of altering, and they're like, "Oh my God, we have secrets from the beyond," and really it's just a pie recipe or something like that.
I would fool with them and tell them, 6 random numbers and tell them it's the lottery numbers. And watch them just go crazy for the rest of their life. Oh, it must be the next one.
The next one.
Because I got these numbers from the other side.
And these lottery numbers are for 2004.
That's what I would do if I was a ghost haunting people.
Well, look, yeah. Be kind to those less fortunate. That's
true.
That's from World of Warcraft, but I believe it. Anyways, so I think that's it for our episode.
So catch us next week for another episode of the Phantom Journeys Podcast.